Welcome back to another Mix It Up Thursday. So today I decided that we should do something really cool and really different using toilet paper rolls. So we're just going to be taking ordinary brown toilet paper rolls. There are some toilet paper rolls that come in like a white or cream color. If for whatever reason you don't have the brown ones, you can always use a paper towel roll and then just cut it down to size. But this is a really cool, fun technique, and it kind of makes like a distressed sort of leather effect. And I learned this in a really cool class at Scrapbooking Forever. I wish I could remember the girl's name who taught this to us. It was for a Valentine's Day card. It was really, really cool. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Again, all you're going to need to start, other than your wonderful toilet paper rolls, is some glycerin and water. And so all I do is basically mix kind of like 1 part glycerin to sort of like 5 parts water, the rest of the bottle. I just put in maybe 2 capfuls, and all it's going to do is soften up the toilet paper rolls to be able to emboss on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking our toilet paper rolls and just cutting them. Now, when you go to cut them, if you notice, there are seams that run around here. So depending on where you cut it will determine where your seams are. If you cut them here in between the 2 ends, you'll get a seam straight down the middle. If you cut it in the middle of that, you'll get 2 seams on the side. So we'll do a couple different techniques right here. And I'll start by cutting mine down the middle. And so as you can see, when you unravel it, you get a seam here and you get a seam here. And maybe you want that in your looks, maybe you don't want that, maybe you need to choose your seam and figure out where you want to cover it up with your embellishments. It all depends on what you want to do. So next, why don't I take one that will kind of go down the middle. Alright, so see, this one just runs straight down the middle on a diagonal. And then let's do one just here. I personally like it with the 2 ends, that's just me. And then why don't we try this one? I have actually not used a white toilet paper roll before, so I might end up kind of distressing it with some color. Maybe we'll stick with the neutral colors. I don't know, we'll see. But as you can see, our toilet paper rolls are still very, very curled. This is where this wonderful glycerin and water comes in. You're just going to lightly spray them. You just want them to become soft so they're able to be embossed and nice and easy. So don't worry about overspraying it to the point where it's going to get flat. You don't need it perfectly flat. That's what the embossing machine will do. So all you're going to do is kind of lightly spray, kind of stretch it out a little bit. Spray it again. And I like to give just a light spray on the back as well. I find that it just helps just a little bit. And let me do the other ones. So I'm going to stretch this out, because you definitely don't want to over soak the paper. See, just nice and light. That's all you need. And they'll start to kind of uncurl on their own. Now, how this effect also depends on the type of toilet paper brand, the type of roll that they use. Some get a little darker, some get a little lighter, some are more absorbent. So just a really interesting thing to note. Not all toilet paper rolls are created equal. So there you go. So today we are going to be using a few different embossing folders. I've picked out a few different types so you can kind of see what sort of looks really great, what kind of looks really interesting, you know, what gives a more like really cool kind of leather feel. I do find that a lot of times the more interesting floral prints, I don't happen to have any in my stash here with me at the moment as I am still unpacking, so this is what I have available. I have a bunch of other ones, but I find that they weren't going to suit this project. But I do find that a lot of times the more sort of florally or woodland kind of interesting, regular fleur-de-lis sort of designs work really, really well for this. They give a really nice subtle background. But I'll show you something with a very kind of bold print, and then the checkerboard, and then why don't we grab one more, kind of mix it up, do something fun. Let's see. We have, you know what? Why don't? Ooh, should we do, ooh, my goodness, see, I have a lot of embossing folders here. Should we do music notes or should we do sewing? Maybe we should do a Tim Holtz one. So many questions, guys, so many questions. Why don't, I have an idea, why don't we do a sewing? So I'm already going to use this one. I did make it as a sample. And I'm going to show you what this one looks like. I've already pre-made part of one. I've at least embossed it. And then we'll do this one. And then why don't we do... Oh no, my whole mat is shifting because it's filled with glycerin and it's soft. Why don't we do this really cool sewing one and a Tim Holtz one. What Tim Holtz one should we use? That one's kind of cool, kind of funky. Either that one or maybe we could do the Valentine's Day one. Yeah, why don't we try that one? Such tough decisions, guys. Do you ever have these tough decisions when you're trying to figure out what embossing folders you want to use? This one looks so cool, though. Alright, tell you what. How about that? We'll do some words so you can see kind of a difference with it. Okay, so I have done 2 samples without inking them yet. I have done 2 samples already. So this was one of the embossing folders. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's kind of monotone right now. And I was just testing it out. This was one of the paper towel holders. So it does have the numbers on it. That's not a big deal. I can cover that up. But I think that's kind of cool. It's very textured. I will ink this one up as well to kind of give you guys an idea. And then this is the flower one. And I think it'll make a really cool background. So I'm going to ink this one up as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to emboss them. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this one. This is kind of our crazy test one, and we'll do the words, and then I'll have that. And these embossing folders are slightly smaller, the Sizzix ones. The Tim Holtz one, even though Sizzix makes them, are just a little bit bigger on some of them. So let's go over to our big shot, and I'm just going to emboss these and come right back. Okay guys, so I have let these dry overnight. I got tired, so I decided to let them dry. You don't have to let them dry. I actually might spray them lightly just to kind of give them a little bit easier to work with. But as you see, I ran them through the embossing machine. They did flatten out, Look at all the detail. I don't know how well you can see that right now, but I think that they are really, really pretty. And they don't even look like toilet paper rolls anymore already. But what we're going to do is we are going to take our Distress inks, my favorite Distress inks, in the colors of tea dye and brush corduroy and vintage photo and walnut stain, and I might add a little bit of the forest moss in there on some of them just to kind of really grunge them up and really sort of look like worn out leather. I did end up taking my paper towel roll and cutting it in half because I just wanted to see what some of the other embossing folders looked like and kind of how they came out, and I will probably end up trying another one as soon as we're done with the toilet paper rolls because our rolls right now are white. But as you can see, I've got some music note here, which you can't see actually on the camera right now, but that's okay. I got the music note one here. I've got the really cool kind of textured distress Tim Holtz one with some of the Harley Quinn and the clock and the birds and all that stuff. And then I have the one that I showed you guys earlier, which is the flowers, along with kind of this dot flower pattern that's really tight and close together. And then the sewing one, we decided to try the Valentine's Day Love Tim Holtz one, and then this Tim Holtz checkerboard one, which I'll probably cut down, and I'm thinking you can also cut them into strips for the card. You don't have to leave it in one solid piece, or what I was hoping to do, which I do not have here with me right now, is the Big Shot Plus, and to cut the toilet or the paper towel roll open and run it through the Big Shot Plus into a really big piece, like for a canvas or something. I think that that would be super duper cool, but I can't show that to you today like I wanted to, but that is alright. I am going to demonstrate on one of these how to kind of do this, and then I'll probably pop back in and show you all of them once they're all done. So to start, why don't we do the flower one? So I'm going to move these out of the way. And I'm going to take my brush corduroy, vintage photo, oh, my tea dye goes there, and my walnut stain. I always like to keep them in order. I am a little OCD, I guess. I've admitted to myself that I'm kind of type A. And then I like to take all of the matching pads for them and line them up accordingly with them as well. There we go. So this is going to be one of the easiest things you guys can do ever. You can use other colors if you want. It does not have to be brown. This just happens to be how to get sort of the distressed and leathery look. Maybe I'll do one of the other ones in a color and see how it turns out. I haven't actually done that. But I just find that this looks really, really cool. I love that they showed us this technique in the class for the Valentine's Day cards. I wish I could remember her name, so if you are watching and you come across this video, just know that you're awesome, and I loved your tutorial on how to do this. What a great idea. So I'm just going to start out with my tea dye, and I'm just going to run it over. And now if you push harder, it's going to get into the grooves, versus if you don't push as hard, it won't. But I'm just going to kind of go through, and you don't have to be neat at all on this. This is one of the easiest. This is kind of like the waterfall card that we made, where you did not have to be neat with your background. And I think that's one of the most fun things you can possibly do. It's so much more relaxing than trying to make it all perfect. So I like to do a wash with my tea dye kind of all over, just to sort of give it a little bit of a faded look and bring out some of that texture. And then I like to go in specific areas and kind of really get in there. But as you can see, that already looks pretty cool, because now you can see all the embossing, and it's kind of a really nice tone-on-tone look. So I'm then going to come in with my brushed corduroy. This is probably my favorite color. I'm just going to start hitting certain areas. Again, this does not have to be neat. Nice and easy, right? And then I'm going to come in with some Vintage Photo. And you guys can just go back and forth with the colors as many times as you like to achieve the look that you want. It's been a while since I've done this, so see if I can kind of pull myself out of the box of I'm so used to just going around the edges. And feel free to make streaks or lines in it as well. You know, it can give it a really cool effect. And we're going to start to darken this up. Leave some spots for highlight. I find in some of the images that I like to make certain parts of them dark and certain parts of them light, like the one in the class. There was kind of like trees in certain areas and then flowers in others, and so I only darkened certain elements from the embossing folder and instead of other ones, and that looked really cool as well. So see, we're really starting to get some really cool texture and color and dimension in this. And then let's go in with the Walnut Stain. You can even go in with the black soot as well to really darken things up. We'll see. I don't know if I want to do that today. Okay, so I am actually going to grab my forest moss. I did grab all three of my greens. I do set all my distress inks up on my desk in color order, in light to dark. So I have a pink and red stack, and then I have my yellow stack with my lightest yellows to darkest yellows, my green stack, lightest to darkest, my blue with, I only have 2 purples right now, so lightest to darkest with purple underneath, and then my browns, which you see here, along with the black underneath and the embossing ink pad underneath. And then I keep all of the little pad sponges lined up in color order right in front of it, because I am very type A, as much as I don't want to admit it. Sorry, let me just grab my little ink pads here for you guys. Let's add some forest moss. Grab my blending tool. I'm just going to go in just real lightly, kind of hit certain areas. I think the green is kind of what really gives it that weathered look. Now there's a million more distress colors than what I have. This is just what I currently own. If I could own every single one of them, I would, but I don't have that kind of money. Though I do love my distress markers. I do have a bunch of those. I use them for coloring. I like them more than Copics. At least currently, I don't think I have enough Copics to truly like them. But yeah, I think that really adds a lot of depth in there with that green, really kind of grunge it up. And then let's go in with just a little bit lighter color. Why don't we go back in with maybe brush corduroy, see if that works, and if not, then the tea dye. This is probably my favorite thing to do in the world, guys. I absolutely love using distress inks, and I should probably wear gloves because they get all over my hands all the time, which is why if you watch my videos, half the time my hands are stained. I wash them and wash them and wash them. My hands just happen to soak up ink. It's been that way since I was a little girl, and I can't change that. So if you guys have any great solutions on products that mask your hands or use your hands other than gloves, I know sometimes there's like sealers that you can spray or rub on your hands. Let me know what you guys think, because I would love to try some of those out and not have my hands stained for the videos. But I have been really good for you guys about wearing nail polish, and today I'm actually, I wish you could see, you probably can't, I'm wearing a really pretty holographic nail polish. That is a thing. I did not know it was a thing, but it is apparently a thing, and holographic nail polish, I've come to find, is awesome. So go check that out. I got mine on Live Love Polish, and they have great deals on that. I didn't think it was that big of a difference between $1 polish and $10 polish, but boy was I wrong. $10 polish is awesome. So see, we're really starting to get it kind of like old and weathered looking, and for me personally, that's the way I like it. You could go with a much lighter look. You don't have to go so dark on the blending. I just, for this one, I want a really dark kind of distressed look. And then if you even want, you can come in with my black soot and my black soot pad. Ooh. And just hit some of the edges. Just gonna darken up certain areas. And it looks really pretty. I think that's good. We'll leave that one at that. So that's it. It's that simple, and you can use this for the back of a card or anything like that. I'm going to finish up the other ones and kind of do some lighter, some darker. Maybe I'll try a color or two in there, and I'll show you guys the finished products when I'm done. Okay guys, so I am all finished doing the distressing on all of these, and I think that they look super cool, and so I wanted to kind of talk through them. This was the one that we did originally with the brown distress inks and just a little bit of green, and that looks really old and vintage. And if you even want to, you can kind of spray it some more with the Gyclerin and Water and kind of just play with it, and it'll really kind of grunge it up a lot. When I did my originals in the class, we had actually had them wet when we did them, and they gave it, I think, just a little bit more texture and grunge look, because you don't want to overwork it too much or it'll start to pill and everything like that. But I do think some of these look a little neat. And in part that is because I did let the paper towel rolls dry and I did not respray them, but that's okay. It works either way. It looks almost the same. So this is that one. And then for the browns, I did do two other ones. So this is the sewing one. This is the Tim Holtz embossing folder, and I think it's really cute. So what I did is I did the same browns. I did not add any greens whatsoever, and then I really made sure to leave almost like the paper towel roll showing through in a few spots as the highlights, and then just went in with the side of my distress tool. Let me grab that. With the side of my distress tool, and kind of went in and sort of marked the areas. So instead of having a more even blend, I really tried to mark up the areas there for you. Then after that, I did also the browns, but because it was all blocked off, I kind of wanted to show you the technique that I was talking about, where on the ones that I did in class, there were certain design elements that I only darkened up certain areas. So I went in with a very light wash of the tea dye everywhere, keeping some areas almost not even like covered with the tea dye, and having the paper towel show through. And then I went in the areas that I wanted darker. I started to darken them up with my vintage photo and my Walnut Stain, and then kind of keep the middle areas with my brushed corduroy. And then what I went in to try for you guys, and I love it because I kind of wanted this a little more vintage steampunk sort of feel, is I went in with my mustard seed, my yellow, which is all in here, and it looks awesome. I love it. I think it really adds another dimension, especially if you don't want to go so dark with the greens. And speaking of greens, I did one that was all green for you guys, and I really like this. So do remember that basically all the inks are going to come out darker than what they normally would on your regular cardstock, because this is brown. So the peeled paint, I went in with Shabby Shutters peeled paint and Forest Moss. So I started with the Shabby Shutters, and that's all this really, really light green in here. And then I wanted the main color to kind of be that peeled paint, which comes in throughout here. And then I just went in very lightly sort of on some of the corners and over the top with my Forest Moss. And I don't know, I think it may be just the embossing folder, but as I started to do these greens, especially because the undertone is brown from the toilet paper roll, it reminded me of crocodile skin. So I guess if you have a really cool embossing folder, you can do this technique and kind of make like a crocodile skin sort of look. I think it looks really awesome, actually, and I could go in with a little bit of brown later and kind of add more dimension to that, but I wanted to show you just the greens all on their own. And then I took the checkerboard one, and I wanted some sharp contrast. I wanted to see how that would work out, and so I went in with my fired brick first, and I heavily covered it, making sure to get in all the little grooves and everything like that. And then I came on top just very lightly brushing over with my black soot, so only the checkerboard and everything that is raised and embossed gets that color, and I think it looks really cool. I kind of want to cut it up into strips or blocks and put it like throughout the card. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then I went in and I decided, well, since we're trying out all the colors, why not try the blues? So I went in with what was it, tumbled glass. I went in with tumbled glass, and it really didn't show up. So the lighter colors really don't show up that well. It was very, very light. I had to really work at it to be able to kind of see anything there. And then I went in with peacock feathers, which is right in here, and it was really bright. It was so vibrant. So just know that some of the more vibrant colors that you own in Distress Inks will still be very vibrant. It did not affect it that much. It was just a little bit darker, but still incredibly vibrant. And then I went in with the faded jeans, and it gave this really dark blue, very muted kind of color. It almost gave it not as dark as the black, but kind of that feel of very dark. And I wasn't quite happy with it. So I decided to try, just for a little contrast, some of my Dusty Concord. So this is the Dusty Concord, the purple color. Kind of just spread throughout it just lightly. And then I went back over again with my peacock feathers just to kind of brighten it up just a little bit. I kind of wanted like a dark sort of night sky-ish look, because why not? But that's what those colors were. And then actually my favorite in a way is the white toilet paper roll. I used my, my Victorian Velvet and my Fired Brick, and they are so pretty. I have to tell you, the Victorian Velvet, oh, that was my phone. I'm sorry guys, my Victorian Velvet was beautiful all on its own on this card. It didn't even need the red, especially because I had this beautiful like vintage pink and white throughout it. Oh my gosh, it was really cool. But I decided to go in and just add bits of red in there, but there's still all that pink throughout here, and I didn't press too hard on areas, so you still get some of the white peeking through. But I will probably use many more white toilet paper rolls in the future. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty, and the colors are still really vibrant, and I love embossing on toilet paper rolls because it's a little thicker. It really gives a great deep detailed impression. So that is what I wanted to show you guys for our Mix It Up Thursday. I cannot wait to try and make cards with this. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see as a card. If you want me to make the white one a card or the sewing one a card, I want to know your opinion and what you guys think would be the best embossing folder that we have made today to make a card from, and I will actually make that for you guys, maybe next Thursday, maybe next Wednesday, we'll see. So guys, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for all the daily updates. I will leave a link in the description box down below, somewhere down, I think this way, down there, of the embossing folders that I used and the colors of Distress inks that I used. But don't feel intimidated if you only have one or two colors. that is totally acceptable. I did this with 2 colors. I did that one with 2 colors. You could use only brush corduroy and walnut stain, or only vintage photo. You know, even one color over this gives a beautiful look. So do not be intimidated whatsoever. Let me know what you guys want to see in the upcoming weeks and videos, and I will catch you guys later.